What's going on, everybody? Unfortunately, last night, Wednesday night, myself, Stokes, and Sham got on here and recorded a really nice 25-30 minute playoff preview video, and the audio was so hard to comprehend that it would have been a waste of time for me to even put it out. It wasn't Sham's fault, it wasn't Stokes' fault. I think I need a new headset. I think things are better today, but whatever was going on last night, it sounded like those two guys were speaking, through a bowl of bubbling water. And it was frustrating because they had really good points. We broke down all these games. We talked about teams that we thought had the best shot of going from wildcard weekend all the way through the playoffs. So as I go through now and try to put out something, I'll try to hit on some of the points that they made last night. And my apologies to Stokes and Sham because it was a good show last night. I was looking forward to getting it out there, and then unfortunately technical issues took over and we had no chance to get it out. Also, it's Thursday morning. I realized when I got up that it didn't upload correctly. Well, it did upload, but it sounded awful. So kind of on the fly here, I have to leave for work in about 10 minutes, but I wanted to get this out there. So with all that said, it's going to be a little rushed. It's just going to be me, but here is your Madden 18 Season 1 playoff preview. First of all, let's talk about the teams that got the bye. Stokes' Texans, Nino's Bills in the AFC, 15-1, 14-2 respectively. In the NFC, the teams that got the bye are Danny's 49ers, best record in the NFC, and then Shadow's Falcons were one of 3 division winners with an 11-5 record, and they got the bye based on tiebreakers. And this is big because Shadow and Edub both took Sims week 17, so not sure how that all affected it, but Shadow gets the bye, and that's going to be huge as we go forward because as myself and Sham talked about last night that you guys will never hear, in this particular version of Madden especially, I think the bye is more important than ever. There's a lot of evenness to the game. Seems to be a little bit more randomness, more opportunities, as Stokes said last night, to get maddened. So any opportunity you have to not have to play a game and still advance is a good thing. So the 49ers and the Falcons in the NFC, and the Bills and the Texans in the AFC. So with that, let's talk about the wild card matchups. The first matchup on the schedule, if I remember correctly, is Prime's Dolphins against A-Bomb's Broncos. This is a rematch from the regular season. Prime blew out the Broncos in the regular season 37-7. The Broncos are also playing without Paxton Lynch and Emmanuel Sanders. Look, this to me is an interesting matchup. The Broncos are 13-3, one of the quietest 13-3s we've ever heard from in AFL, as Stokes said last night, because we haven't been talking about A-Bomb that much. The AFC's been Stokes, Nino, MVP the whole year, whereas A-Bomb's gone 13-3. But here's the problem. This is something Stokes pointed out last night when you look at the Broncos. When they've played big dog teams, when they've played teams that you think are real tests, they lost to the Bills 48-0. They lost to E-Dub's Giants 31-3. They lost to Prime's Dolphins 37-7. Yes, they got some wins over some other teams in there, but none of these teams. They get a forced win over Bailey. There's not a lot you can tell from this as far as strength of schedule. Good win over the Cowboys and Roman. Roman had a nice year. But in general, this is the kind of schedule where you start to ask yourself, are they a true 13-3 team? Are they a team that had a 13-3 schedule? I don't know. I'm impressed with what I see from A-Bomb. He seems like a guy that keeps himself in games playing well, but this is what stands out to me. The last time he played Prime, 37-7 loss. So we all agreed that Prime is going to win this game. I think Sham and Stokes said it probably wouldn't be that close, especially with the injuries on Denver, but I'm excited for A-Bomb. He has a chance to prove that he is legit and that his 13-3 record is legit. And, it's hard to go 13-3 in any league. He did. Congratulations to him. This is an exciting matchup. And on the other side of the coin, Prime. He was a guy that on the last time we did an AFL Advance episode, we talked about there were 3 teams in the playoff race. The Dolphins, the Jags, and the Chiefs. And Prime had a brutal schedule to end the season. Played the Bills twice. He also had to play the Chiefs. Prime beat the Bills in Nino, and then he also beat Sham and the Chiefs. So he's hot right now. Prime is on the upswing, and that's what you look for when you look for teams that you're trying to find that can go through the field. So we all picked the Dolphins to win this game. It's going to be very interesting. Second matchup on Saturday night, the Detroit Lions and KK the Destroyer. There are 3 NFC North teams that made the playoffs, by the way, and here's a matchup of 2 of them. His Lions against my Bears, 11-5 Lions, 10-6 Bears. For the Lions, they had big wins down the stretch, including wins over my Bears, to end up pulling free from the pack, literally, and winning the NFC. I just made myself laugh. Way to go, Josh. Pulling free from the Packers and winning the NFC North. But then they lost Week 17 to those Packers, which cost them the bye week. So now they're playing on Wildcard Weekend, and they play my Bears. My Bears, 3 weeks ago, Week 15, when I lost to KK the Destroyer, I thought my season was over. I was too far behind, needed a lot of help on the out-of-town scoreboard. I ended up winning out with victories over the Browns and the Vikings, and then I got the help I needed. The Rams lost twice, and the Cowboys and Roman lost to T-Mag's Seahawks, and then Week 17, like I mentioned with the Rams losing, the Rams lost to Danny's 49ers, so that opened the door for me to win and get in Week 17, and that's what happened. So my Bears get in with a 10-6 record, and KK and I split the series. Whatever time we played first, we ended up disconnecting in the third quarter. It was a blowout victory for the Bears, and then the last time we played Weeks 15, it was a blowout victory for the Lions. It's a rubber match. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. This one here is another rematch between MVP's Titans, SJR's Bengals. SJR's Bengals are 9-7. They had a very nice season, but unfortunately, what's going to be the story of the AFC in Madden 18, that 4th seed is pretty much always going to be waiting for either Stokes or MVP if things go as projected, because they're in the same division. You would think one of them is going to be the 5th seed, and unfortunately for SJR, that's his spot this year. These two teams played earlier in the season. MVP blew him out. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to change this time around. I could see SJR giving him a game if he shortens the game, runs the ball, avoids turnovers, and can find a way to slow down Mariota from rolling out of the pocket like MVP likes to do. But MVP's just on another level right now than a lot of owners in AFL, and I just think he's going to be a headache for SJR to beat in this game. So we all picked the Titans to win this game. And then here's one that might surprise you all. We all picked the Packers and Fish to beat Edub and the Giants. And here's why. The Packers had a big win Week 17 over KK's Lions to lock up a playoff spot. If they hadn't won, they would have been at the mercy of tiebreakers of not even getting in. I think they probably still would have gotten in, but it would have been tough. But they won and got in. They've been playing well down the stretch. They did have a shaky game Week 16 against the Vikings, but from the Giants standpoint, the Giants kind of simmed their way into the playoffs, had 2 sim wins along the way, and the last time we saw Edub on the field, he lost badly to Roman. Now, Edub has had some bright spots this year. He beat A-Bomb very badly. I think he beat him by like 30 points. We talked about that earlier. He blew out Danny. But Edub's had an up and down season. He's taken a couple sims. I just, right now, if you look at like what team seems more into it, what team seems to have more momentum, I would say the Packers, and we all picked the Packers to win this game because we just don't know what to expect from Edub. But to me, this is the hardest game of the early slate to predict. Maybe along with the Bears and Lions, but I don't predict my own games because Edub is one of the best players in AFL. He has one of the best track records in AFL. He has multiple Super Bowls on his resume. And he is very easily a guy that can go into Wildcard Weekend, go on a 3-game winning streak, and get to the Super Bowl and win it. And it wouldn't surprise anybody. But the way things are trending right now, we're just a little worried about what we see. So I predict the Packers will win, but I also could see scenarios that play out in this game where if things go a certain way for the Packers, where the Giants actually win this game by a blowout. I'm very much looking forward to this game. So the next thing we talked about is what team on Wildcard Weekend would you say has the best chance of going through and representing their conference in the Super Bowl? Sham said the Dolphins. He said he wanted to go a little bit against the grain and pick the Dolphins. He said Prime's playing well right now. He beat Nino. He knows it's going to be a tough hill to climb to beat Nino, to beat Stokes, to beat potentially MVP along the way, but he thinks Prime's the right guy to do it. I countered and said that's a lot to ask. If Prime was in the NFC, I think Prime would be one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. It wouldn't surprise anybody. I just would have a hard time picking anybody to beat 2 out of the 3 of Nino and Stokes along the way. I hope Prime can get it done. I just have my doubts. I took the easy way out. I didn't predict my own conference. I took MVP. I just think, he's gonna have to go through Stokes and Nino most likely to get there. But to me, in the AFC, he's as good as anybody there. His game right now is clicking. He beat Stokes in the regular season. I look forward, if they play a rematch, to see that happen. And I said MVP has the best chance. Stokes didn't do the AFC. He predicted the NFC. And he actually said my Bears had the best chance because of the way we run the ball and play defense. We're going to keep games close and should be in every game near the end. And then I also threw out there that it wouldn't surprise anybody, even though we all picked Edub to lose, that if Edub won this game, he would then go on to the second round to either A, play Danny's 49ers, who he blew out in the regular season, or play Shadow's Falcons, who honestly have proven nothing since being back in AFL. They had a great record from Costa, and I can't think of really any big wins along the way for the Falcons since getting here, and they've had a couple sims along the way too. So it's nothing against Shadow, but I just feel like at this point that Edub, if he were to go to Atlanta, say, that a lot of people would like Edub's chances to win that game. So that is a look at the wildcard matchups. I'm going to get out of here so I can go to work. I'm sorry the first video didn't work. I do want to say thank you to everybody for getting their games in Week 17, especially the guys that didn't have anything to play for. That's huge shout out to you guys, and we're on the road now to season 2. Trade board's open. We're going to be knocking out these playoffs. We're going to crown a world champion, and then we're going to have a season 1 wrap up, season 2 preview podcast coming up at a date to be determined. So good luck to everybody in the playoffs. Good luck to everybody in the trading season of AFL. We got a draft around the corner. We got a lot of fun things coming up. We had an ownership change last night. We'll talk about it on the next episode of the AFL podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.